Larry Sharpe has traveled the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty here in amazing Western New York. 585-346-3000 is the number to chat with me after the first break. You know, I've been thinking about how this last election went with people voting back and forth and how they began changing their minds on who they voted for and why they voted, all those things. It made me think about something from many years ago, back in the 90s. In 1992, for those of you who are around, you remember how Bill Clinton was kind of taking the country by storm. He was on TV. He was playing a saxophone on Arsenio, and people were loving it. I was impressed too. But I was more not impressed. I was more moved by Ross Perot at that time. Ross Perot was going to give us change. I did think Bill Clinton was cool. Don't get me wrong. I was a little bit wooed by him, but not enough to want to vote for him. But my mom did. But my mom was not a citizen, so she couldn't vote. So she tried to get me to vote for Bill Clinton. She said, Larry, you got to vote for Bill Clinton. I was overseas at the time, so I had to vote by mail. I was in the military. I was in the Marine Corps. And I thought, well, it's kind of cool. My mom was a hardcore Democrat in spirit. Not obviously couldn't vote. Her friends were all Democrats. And she was like, Larry, you got to vote for Bill Clinton. He's the right guy. He's going to help us out. And I was like, I appreciate it, Ma. I do. But I'm not doing Bill Clinton. I'm going to vote for Perot. And she went, okay. Got it. If you're going to not going to vote for Bill Clinton, then do me a favor. Vote for this guy. His name was D'Amato for Senate. And I'm like, D'Amato? I didn't know who the guy was, to be forward. I didn't. I said, fine, Ma. I don't know. I'm overseas. I'm only really paying attention to the president. I don't know what's local. I'll vote for this D'Amato guy. Fine. So I asked my friends about this D'Amato guy. Who is he? What's going on? And then I asked her and we talked and she's like, oh, he's a Republican. So now I'm shocked. I'm like, wait a minute. You just told me you're a Democrat and I should be voting for Bill Clinton. But then you tell me I'm supposed to vote for this guy, D'Amato, who's some Republican. Now, to be forward, if you were in New York in 92, I don't know if D'Amato was a good senator or not. I'm being very forward. I was not paying attention then. He might have been a great senator. He might have been a terrible one. I don't know. All I'm telling you is my mom wanted me to vote for him. And I said, what are you talking about? He's Republican. You're telling me vote for Bill Clinton. Now you tell me to vote for this guy, D'Amato. What's wrong with you? And you're mad at me because I don't want to vote for Clinton. So should I be mad at you for not voting for whoever the Democrat was back then? I don't remember who it was, but whatever. She's like, no. She tells me, I like D'Amato. He's a good guy. He takes care of us. He fights for us. I went, oh. So you like this guy? Fine. I'll vote for this D'Amato guy. So, 92, I vote for Perot, who is on the Reform Party at the time. I didn't care. And D'Amato, who's Republican. The rest I left blank because I didn't know. I was literally overseas voting by mail. I voted for those two people. The rest was blank. Done. Why do I tell you that story? Because so many of us who are involved in politics think that, well, it's about party. It's about we're all Democrats, or we're all Republicans, or we're all conservatives, or we're all progressives, or whatever. And in this case, literally, I just wanted change, so I voted for Perot. Even though I did think Bill Clinton was cool. I did. I'm being very forward. I thought he was cool. But that wasn't enough for me. I didn't know who D'Amato was. And my mom, who's telling me vote for the cool guy Clinton, tells me vote for the Republican. A lot of that happens, and a lot of it happened in New York this year. How do I know that? I live in Queens, New York. AOC is my congressperson. I accept your condolences. And a lot of people in her district, which is some southern eastern parts of the Bronx and northern parts of Queens, a lot of them voted for Trump and her. How do you do that? Well, I voted for Perot and D'Amato. They're not the same. And people in the Bronx and Queens, New York City, voted for AOC and Trump. That doesn't seem to make sense. They don't think the same way. They aren't the same type of person. But somehow people did both. Why? And the point I'll bring up is what my mom said. My mom did not like Republicans. She was all about Democrats. Did not like Republicans at all. And she liked D'Amato. But he's Republican. Why? In my mom's eyes, D'Amato fought for her. Now, again, I don't know him at all. I wasn't in the country. No idea if he was good or bad. But according to my mom, he fought. And I feel like a lot of people in Queens and the Bronx believe that Trump was going to fight for them and believe that AOC is going to fight for them and still fights for them. This is a key part that a lot of people didn't see. They were so worried about R or D or policy issues. And again, to be forward, I couldn't tell you one of Perot's policies. Not one. Couldn't tell you any of them. And 4 years later, I voted for him again. And I couldn't tell you one of his policies. I remember giant sucking sound, for those of you who were around. I remember that. And boy, was he right. I remember that. And in 2000, I voted for Nader. Again, couldn't have told you one of his policies, but he was not them. 2004, voted for Nader again. Couldn't tell you why. Just did it. To hell with you guys. That's where my head was. I think a lot of people, particularly in the Bronx and Queens, they looked around and said, the system isn't working. It's not helping me out. It's not getting better. All those things. And I think they said, I'm voting Trump because I'm against whatever's happening now. Okay, but then shouldn't they? And by the way, the woman who ran against AOC is a woman, a friend of mine named Tina Forte. She ran against AOC. I did vote for Tina. And why didn't they vote for Tina then? Why didn't they go, well, AOC's not working either, so I'm going to go vote for Tina. Why didn't I do Trump, Tina then? That would make sense. Why not do that? They didn't. And I think there's another two reasons. Whether you like AOC or don't like AOC, she is out there. I got to give her that. I try to give credit where credit is due. Again, I didn't vote for her. Not going to vote for her. But she is out there, hooping and hollering, screaming and saying, and doing all the things that people want to see. And the most people aren't as into this as I am, as many of you are. And what do they see? They see AOC yelling and screaming on some TV show. And they go, she must be fighting for me. I'm going to vote for her. Now, they didn't see Tina fighting. Tina's fighting too. I'm going to give Tina credit where credit is due. Also fighting. But they didn't see her because the press doesn't cover Tina. The press covers AOC no matter what she does. So people see her fighting and they think they are. So many of the people who said, I want Trump because he's change, also said, I want AOC because she's fighting for change too. Now, I'm not saying either of them actually are. I'm not making a judgment on that. My judgment is, how does it look? How do they feel? Many of you get upset when I talk about how feelings matter in politics, but they do. They matter. People vote not just on policy, they also vote on feeling. And a bunch of people voted on that feeling. And the part that I also think makes a lot of sense, which goes against what many Democrats are saying as they try to dissect what happened. They bring up, oh, people don't like women, or people didn't like the person of color, or whatever. We just saw it. Most of the Bronx and most of Queens, the people in her district, they're not white. Many of them are women. And they picked Trump and AOC. And in case you didn't know it, AOC is a person of color, a woman of color. People didn't care about that. I mean, I'm sure there was some. There's always knuckleheads who go, I ain't voting for no woman. Of course they exist. But they're tiny. They're tiny. They voted. Remember, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. Americans will vote for a woman. Clearly. Obama was elected twice. Americans will vote for a black guy. They will. We've proven it. No. It was that what the Harris team was unable to do, or did very poorly, either one, was to get Americans to believe that she was change, that she was going to fight for them. Her and her team failed at that. AOC's team, which is part of the current regime, did a great job of letting people believe, no, we're fighting, right? We're fighting for you. Did a great job of it. Now, Trump's team did a good job of change also. How do we know this? You look at what's happening with Trump's cabinet, odd and weird and different compared to the past. And are Americans up in arms? No, they're not. Like, no. We knew it was going to happen. We're good. We voted for this. Yes. It wasn't about race. It wasn't about gender. Sadly, for many people, it wasn't even about policy. It was, do I believe you are out there fighting for me or not? Critical piece that almost no one's talking about. Am I wrong? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe, Shortwave Radio on the Voice of Liberty. Back with your calls and your chats. I am watching after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth. The latest advancements in artificial intelligence have made cyber attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
Dion, you see this most likable spokesperson poll?
Really? I might know somebody. Oh, we're looking forward to this today, aren't we?
Seriously, guys. We're a team. We're not competing against each other.
Ooh, who's a good spokesperson?
2 puppies? I did not expect that from you.
Ooh, one of them's for you. Oh, ooh, who's a good spokesperson? Yes, go to West Her. Oh.
Welcome to West Her, New York.
Hi, my name is Evan Spindleman, founder and owner of Flood Broker. Flood insurance premiums are skyrocketing, and if you have to have flood insurance coverage to secure your mortgage, you owe it to yourself to call me to see how I can save you money on your flood insurance premium. The insurance programs I use are
Keith.
accepted and will satisfy your loan requirement. Please give me
You're welcome.
585-736-4366 today to get a free no obligation quote. That's 585-736-4366. Call today.
Okay.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio. Voice of Liberty here, WYSL, Rochester, New York. And, of course, WLEA and WCKR. Also here on the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number. I want to grab a quick comment if I could. This is from Peace. He says, I think you hit the nail. I think you hit it on the nail. There we go. We don't like what's going on. I was swayed by RFK. I couldn't vote Harris. Everything was wrong. Free speech, war, identity politics, border, enough. Yes, and I think RFK follows this same idea. A lot of people don't like RFK for whatever reason. They don't like this, don't like that. But they did believe he was a fighter. They believed that he was going to fight for them. And one thing they knew, he was change. He was change. And I'm going to argue forever. Trump might have still won this election without him. But there's no way this election is as decisive as it was without the RFK, the MAHA, Make America Healthy Again cohort that joined at the end. That made this a decisive victory, which again, I'm happy that there was a decisive victory. It's better for America if there is a decisive victory. Even if it was Harris, decisiveness is more important. I think you're right on that one, Peace, 100%. Let me grab a call if I could. This is Keith. Keith, how are you, sir?
I'm doing okay. For everyone out in the audience, really have a happy Thanksgiving. Hopefully, whoever you are, you'll be with family and friends. I want to get your opinion on how the Congress was put together and in today's modern world. Our founding fathers, for me to say it, looked upon the Senate, the higher house, as being the world's largest debating society. That's why senators only have to run for office 6 years. Our founding fathers thought that would lessen the influence of pure politics, and the senators could hopefully be good statesmen and make those greater decisions and not have to run for office as much. The lower house, House of Representatives, was supposed to be closer to the people, and that demanded that Congress people run every 2 years, meaning that if they were not close to the people, and your correct words were not fighting for the people, then the people could more easily replace, for me to say it, those lower Congress people every 2 years. All right, here goes. Just as you, anyone, certainly if you don't have clout, are almost certainly not going to get in to see your given senator in today's world.
Yeah.
Likewise, you almost certainly will not get in to see your given representative. Maybe,
Correct.
but I'm just going on the quick odds here for conversation. The point is then that with the growing population today, much larger than the 3.5 million in the States at the time, but no larger than that, and today approaching 340 million. Are we so out of touch with the way the government is put together that no one, what they used to call the common man, cannot get in to see any member of government, even those who directly represent you? And in closing, that being the case, pray tell, certainly with people today being so very impatient, can we really figure, can we count on that our government, as it is today, twofold, will meet the needs of the people? Again, fight for the people.
All right. You gave me a lot. Let me try to grab a couple of these, Keith. You gave me a lot again. First piece, I'll go back to front. The last piece you brought up was, can the government support the people or represent the people? No. And I think it's obvious. They've done tons of studies on this. What the people want, they do not get. What the people care about, they do not get. And it isn't only what you said. It is what you said, and more than that. It's also stopping ballot access, ensuring there's only two parties, and then also gerrymandering, right? You look at some, like AOC, my district. My district is gerrymandered to ensure Democrats always win. Where I live at my state level, I bring this up often. I have no say in my government. That's not an exaggeration. That's an actual truth. We have closed primaries, so I can't vote in a primary. I'm not a Democrat, so I can't vote in Democratic primaries. And Democrats always win. At my local state level, Republicans don't even run anybody anymore. They stopped winning. They stopped trying. So I have to hope I get a good king or queen. I literally have no say. So I think that's one chunk. Second chunk, which goes back to what you're talking about. Well, now I have, if I'm a congressperson, 700 and some odd thousand people I represent. Who am I going to talk to? Only 24 hours in a day. That's all I get. To your point, Keith, I'm going to talk to the people who have the most money or the most influence or the most cash. Now, to be forward, there are some Congress people who do a decent job of talking to the people around them and who have a good enough team that does it. And to be forward again, I'm going to give credit where credit is due. I'm not a big fan of AOC. However, she doesn't show up here very often, but her team is pretty aggressive. Like, you can get somebody to talk to. Her team's pretty aggressive when it comes to that relative to others. The person before her, he was horrible. He lived in Virginia. The people here never talked to him. He was terrible. So she has a very low bar to get over, but she's absolutely got over that bar. So she's better than most at her team is. But your point's valid. The next piece is senators weren't supposed to be, you know this, Keith, but the audience may not. Senators were not supposed to be voted on. Senators in the Constitution were selected by the Assembly. Senators were supposed to be elder statesmen. That's what they were supposed to be. Elder statesmen, not responsible to the individual, responsible to the state as a whole, not to the individual at all. That's why they were selected, similar to a prime minister, right? In most cases, in many countries, I should say, prime ministers aren't voted on directly. Prime ministers are voted on by their bodies, whether Assembly, Congress, whatever the case may be. That's what ours was supposed to be. So you're exactly correct. The congressperson was supposed to be in charge of about 30 to 50,000 people in that area. That's it, no more than that. And we just decided arbitrarily, we're going to stop. We just decided that because we just did. To your point, though, it was probably a bad idea because what it does is it makes sure that they don't care about the individual person. They don't have to. The senator was never supposed to. You're exactly right on that piece also. We're never supposed to. The goal was that when the masses would have stupid ideas, the statesman would step in and go, that's a stupid idea. We're not doing that. That's dumb. That's going to destroy our state. We're not doing that. That was the whole goal. We got rid of that. And our judges now have forgotten what their job is. Our judges don't stop stupid ideas. Also, another check that we had for dumb ideas. Our judges now go, we just follow the law. So whatever the brain dead chimps in our assembly say, we just say yes to it because it's the law now. Instead of going, oh, that's not constitutional. No, that's a dumb idea. So I think you're right in what you're saying, Keith. Our system is broken. It doesn't represent the individual person. And the guardrails that we were supposed to have to stop bad ideas, none of them work anymore. Did I cover everything?
Yes, sir, very well. In closing, our founding fathers also did not want political parties. They said it would take away from our pure form of a good constitutional republic. They also did not want special interests coming in the form of lobbyists, as they were first called under the Grant administration when he came in 1868. So we've gotten very far, even in closing. No later, by my year, let's say 1820, we were already getting away from the founding fathers' vision of our form of government.
I would agree with you, Keith. I think you're right, and I think political parties are a disaster, particularly two-party system. It has really made us much more further away from what we were supposed to be. I agree. Is Keith right? You let me know. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty, out here in Western New York. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
Talk Radio.
WYSL.
Avon, Rochester. WLEA WCKR FM Pornell.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll have mostly cloudy skies, temperatures in the 30s, still a little breezy out there. Wednesday, not a bad day, sun, clouds, temps in the 40s. Should be good weather for any travel through Wednesday night. On Thanksgiving Day, not a storm to worry about, but there will be a little bit of wet snow, some rain mixed, mainly just wet roads, maybe some minor accumulations in the hills south of Rochester. I'm Rich Canilia for the Voice of Liberty.
FM Talk. Canisteo Valley Update.
Steuben County passed their budget yesterday. It's a $259 million budget. County Manager Jack Wheeler says it's a 1.76% increase on the tax levy and that the tax rate per thousand will decrease by 4.71%.
Now, what residents will actually see in terms of their tax bill depends upon equalization rates in the municipality that they live in. But long story short, well below the tax cap, a responsible budget pays for the expensive state mandates such as Medicaid and safety net costs, but also maintains the county's investments in public safety, youth services, our roads and bridges, and other important items.
That was County Manager Jack Wheeler. In other Steuben County news, DA Brooks Baker will be putting out a statement today. That'll be about actions the grand jury took last week. Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Why buy a storage building or gazebo this time of year? To save money. Springwater Amish Workshop has several in-stock buildings ready to clear from inventory. Save on all in-stock buildings, and here are some of their November specials. A 12x12 Mission-style octagon gazebo, save $1,112. A 12x12 octagon deluxe gazebo, save $278. A 10x14 oval deluxe gazebo, save $535. And a 12x12 white vinyl square gazebo, save $1,170. And special prices this month for lawn items. Beat the 2025 price increase by buying now, and they can store your purchase for you until spring. A good selection of wishing wells, windmills, and lighthouses, which make good Christmas gifts, plus poly and pressure-treated pine lawn furniture. Springwater Amish Workshop is located on Route 15, that's Mill Street in Springwater, just minutes north of Wayland. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. till 5 p.m., Saturdays from 9 till 3.
Bob Savage here for Aaron Moore. As you feel those dropping temps, I invite you to do what we do here at WYSL. Slash your heating costs this season with Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters. They can save you big compared to just using your furnace. It's how we stay comfy here at Radio Ranch. Aaron Moore heats healthier. No burning of oxygen and particulates to dry out your nose and skin. You get even quiet heat that fills rooms with warmth, not dust and blower noise. Aaron Moore heaters are completely safe. No hot surfaces or heating elements to pose shock or fire hazards, plus complete safety for children and pets. For a limited time, save $30 on either size Aaron Moore, and either the Comfort Deluxe size or the Compact Comfort Buddy for smaller areas. Specify discount code WYSL in your shopping cart. Free shipping in the continental U.S., and you'll never have to replace any bulbs because of Aaron Moore copper PTC technology. Maintenance-free Aaron Moore infrared zone heaters are the way to really save on heating bills. Call 800-707-8725 or visit air-more.com.
Whatever your rehabilitation needs, St. James Hospital's highly skilled physical therapists are here to help with one-on-one personalized care for individuals dealing with illness, injury, or recovering from surgery, and specialized treatments for balance disorders, dizziness, and concussions.
I think what makes us different from the rest is our warm, welcoming personalities, and we really strive to further our own education so we can better help the community.
Get back to doing the things you love. Find out more at stjamesortho.urmc.edu.
If you or anyone you know are pregnant or have a baby less than 3 months old, the Healthy Families Steuben Livingston program could be for you. With educational information, activities, and crafts to do on hand, they bring it all to you through their home visiting program. Call Healthy Families Steuben Livingston today at 607-769-1696 or email them at healthy.families@dor.org. to find out more.
Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten-Free Bakery has a great deal on Tuesdays. A large 4-topping pizza for $18, regular or gluten-free. Call 226-9575. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Livingston County Pizza Company and Gluten-Free Bakery in Avon.
The Toy Train Collectors Society is hosting a model train and vintage toy show Saturday, November 30th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Roberts Wesleyan University in the Valor Athletic Center. There will be operating layouts, trains, and vintage toys for sale.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes. It is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number. We have been chatting about a lot today, but I want to grab some of your comments. A lot of you are popping up online, and I always appreciate it. Deanna says, great to see you back, Larry. For those of you who noticed, those of you who realized that I was not much online these last couple of days, I had a major tech issue Friday evening in the middle of a show. Everything just kind of decided it didn't want to work anymore. Utterly shut it all down. Had to get all new stuff. So I've been offline for several days. And then my girls are with me for the holidays. And that's sucked up some more. But I am back in action. So I'm glad to be here. For those of you who missed me, thank you for the kind words. But I am okay now. So yes. All righty. Kim says, too bad Ross Perot didn't get in. Our government would have been cleaned up in the 90s. I definitely think that if Ross Perot had actually won the presidency, things would be better for many reasons. One of them, what Keith just talked about. Third parties would be more valuable. They'd be more viable. They'd be more involved. And when you have third parties involved, generally speaking, things are better. Not great. World doesn't change all of a sudden. But I think we saw it this time. RFK Jr. ran as an independent. He became valuable. People cared. Trump, RFK, both came to the Libertarian Party convention. Why? Independent parties are valuable. The ideas that libertarians wanted had to at least be addressed. Whether you do it or not, had to be addressed. RFK, with his Maha movement, now is being addressed, getting HHS, right? It changes the messaging. And you might go, but Larry, I don't like libertarian messaging. Well, then have your own party that has its own messaging. One of the things that I bring up all the time, here in New York, some of you may remember a guy named Jimmy McMillan, New York City. Guy ran the party called The Rent is Too Damn High. That was the name of the party. Now, he was never going to win. He wasn't going to become mayor or city councilman or whatever. Wasn't going to happen. But every time he got on the stage, what do we have to talk about? The rent. Too damn high. Every time. That message lands just because he exists. Libertarian message has to land. RFK Jr.'s message had to land because he began to become more valuable, more powerful, more viable. If Perot had won in 92, you're right, Kim, the independent movement makes it better. More people are heard. Because without it, they're not heard. So yes. Roy says, 7 states that elected Democrat governors just elected Trump. Evidence that, like in 16, the DNC did such a bad job that Dems, Republicans, Independents who wanted local Democratic leadership did not want Democratic elites calling the shots in Washington. I agree 100%, Roy. I think so many people, to include Democrats, don't like the Democrat elite establishment. They don't like the Republican elite establishment either. But the Republican elite establishment has been quashed by the Trump train. It's still there. Don't get me wrong. Hasn't gone away. But he has quashed it. So it feels like they don't have any power. They still have power, but it feels that they don't. It feels like Democrats' elites are totally in control, running everything. And people don't like it, including Democrats. I think you're totally correct on that one. Yes. Mike Voss is out there. Thank you for listening, brother. To be fair, only about 20% of each party vote straight party line. Overwhelmingly, Americans vote for who they like or is popular, not best based on issues / facts, sadly. You know, you bring up a valid point. I used to call it the Oprah factor back when Oprah was super powerful in the 90s and early 2000s. If you ever remember when Oprah would meet somebody, they would hug her. Now, she's never met this person, but they would hug her anyway. So it's someone they've never met, and they go hug her. Why? Well, because at those days, her show was on every weekday, I think 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whenever it was on. And these people saw her in their living room every day. They began to feel like Oprah's their friend. One of the good things Oprah did, I mean, she was very good at this, she would open up her own heart. She would talk about her issues, talk about her personal problems, and people connected to her. And they're like, I have a problem like that too. I feel the same way. And they felt connected to her. And I think popularity does matter, Mike. I think you're right. And when people see AOC do her makeup tutorial on TikTok, I may laugh at that because I think it's silly. But there's a lot of people doing makeup, watching her and going, yeah, I feel the same way when I do my makeup. It works, right? I can laugh at it, but maybe she should be laughing at me because it's working. Donald Trump on The Apprentice, yeah, when you're fired, all that stuff. Brilliant. People watching, wishing they could work for Trump. I do think it has value, whether or not they're good at what they do or not. I think there is something, I'll use the word comforting, in knowing who the person is. And something else. There is value in staying power, right? I talk about the Kardashians. What skill does Kim Kardashian have? She does have one. Staying power. She's always somehow in the news doing something. That's her skill set. And it's valuable because people believe she's valuable because she's still popular for some reason. They can't figure out why. Well, she's popular. So I think it does matter. Thank you for that. Andrea says, I remember Perot was against NAFTA. Yes, that was his giant sucking sound. He was like, yeah, gonna wreck everything. The AC's on, says apparently AOC is really on it with constituent services too. This is true. I'm one of her constituents. Accurate statement. Again, the bar from her predecessor was insanely low, but she is absolutely 100% gone over that bar. She is good at that, particularly relative to others. And again, I'm not a fan, but I will always give credit where credit is due. And if you reach out to her office, very often someone's going to respond. It won't be her. This is the Keith's point, not her, but you won't be ignored. People will respond, say something, you'll get an email back or something. This is true, and that's true. The AC goes on to say, didn't even come close to winning her district, but a cohort of voters that voted for both of them is actually quite small, just remarkable. I don't think it's that small. It is remarkable, and that's the point. For traditional, is that the right word? Mainstream, I'll say, maybe better. For mainstream political consultants, the overlap should be minuscule. It should be non-existent, but it isn't. So even if it isn't that big, yeah, I think you're right. Don't get me wrong. Trump was never going to win the Bronx. That was never going to happen. But Trump lost the Bronx in 2016 or 2020. I mean, by like 60, 70 points. I mean, it's crazy how bad he lost the Bronx by. He did not lose the Bronx by that much relative. And that's the issue. And this is why I'm saying it's not that small, AC. It's a good 10 points. Like, well, that's small. That's not that small. No. He lost the state by 11 points. And before he lost by 20. And AOC's still killing it. She's still winning by 40 points. Right? 40 points in the Bronx. 30 points in Queens because it splits up. It averages about 37 points or so she won by. If you get both of them together, about 37 points. She's still winning by around 40 points. That hasn't changed. But his did. It is small, you're correct, but not quite small. It is very remarkable. So Joe says, Harris wasn't going to change too much, in her own words. She said she wasn't changing much from Biden. If you remember, Joe, I spoke about this often. Initially, her team was very good. Her team set it up and put the stage that he, meaning Trump, he was the incumbent. It was Harris that was going to come in and change everything. Remember, we're going to turn the page. Remember all those stories? And initially, it actually worked. Like people were thinking, oh yeah, she's the change one. It initially began to work, but then it began to fail. To your point, she screwed it up. Her team was telling her what to do. Her team was like, no. You're the change candidate. Trump is the one. He's the bad guy. He's ruining the world. You're going to change it and save it. Remember that. So you're going to change everything. And then she got up and said, to your point, Joe, I'm not going to change anything. Oh, wait a minute. This is your fault. He's the change guy. Okay. And if you remember, there was a massive shift. And I think that was part of it. I think you're completely right. There definitely was a change. 100%. Peace. Back up again. Here's the real problem. We are all struggling to find the truth. Valid point. I've spent the past years looking. I'm a lot more confused than I should be. Most people don't have as much time as me, and my head's still spinning. Peace, let me open up that a bit more. Think of all the information we have at the tips of our fingers, in our phones, on our computers, on our tablets. There's a point where it's almost too much. Like I can keep going down a rabbit hole for hours. And then what's real and what's not? Who's telling me the truth? Who's trying to sell me something? It is not easy at all. It's terrible. But we got to keep trying, man. We got to find the right talking heads and the right places to try to find the truth. It is hard. But yes. Is peace right? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Radio, the voice of liberty here in awesome Western New York. Back with your calls and more of your chat after the break.
Introducing a sobering and unavoidable truth.
Roger from Nassau.
Artificial intelligence have made
You're welcome.
attacks easier than ever before. Cyber criminals are relentlessly targeting your business right now, seeking the tiniest opening in your defenses to drain your accounts and steal sensitive data. Your finances and your customers' trust are on the line. Call the experts at Simple Tech Innovations now at 585-999-TECH to secure your business today. Don't wait until it's too late. Make the call today. 585-999-TECH.
I'm Greece Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Joe Robach. If you're looking to market and grow your business, make new business connections, and give back to the community in a meaningful way, consider joining the Greece Regional Chamber. We are the largest suburban chamber in Monroe County, and we offer networking, education, marketing, insurance, and advocacy. You do not need to live or work in Greece to join. Our members come from throughout the region. In short, we are better together, and together we can move your business forward. Visit greecechamber.org or call 585-227-7272 to join today. You'll be glad you did.
Avon Gun and Hunting Supply, a locally owned and operated gun shop here for your hunting needs. With changes in New York State laws, they'll work with you to fulfill your needs. Open from 10 a.m. Tuesday through Saturday, Avon Gun, East Main Street, next to Tompkins Community Bank.
Hey, this is Stryker that calls into WYSL's PCP Boys. I'd love to have you come listen to my podcast, Just an Old Guy with a Mic. If you like the content of WYSL, I think you'll like my podcast, Just an Old Guy with a Mic, on Podbean, Spotify, and Amazon podcast apps.
Sharpe Way Radio on the WYSL stations.
Oh, yes. It is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio, the voice of liberty. So happy to have you with me this afternoon, giving me a small chunk of your afternoon. I want to grab a quick comment here. This is Karen says, don't judge me, but AOC impressed me when she stood up against a blowhard in Congress who wouldn't let her speak. It was awesome. Other than that, we don't agree about much. But Karen, I'm glad you said that. This is what people see. Again, whether you agree with AOC or not, when she gets out there and hoops and hollers, she's good at it. It's a skill set she has. What you just said, you remember it? It affected you. Yes. So now imagine, Karen, you're in her district. You don't pay much attention to politics. You're surviving. By the way, the Bronx is the poorest county in the entire state. So you're probably struggling. Odds are you're struggling. Might be working 2 jobs. Who knows what you're doing? You don't have time to be watching my show. You should watch my show. But you don't have time. I got it. And then here comes election time. And your friends around you go, hey, Democrats are great or whatever. And you remember that thing you saw on TV when she was yelling and screaming. And you go, you know what? Yeah, she's going to fight for me. I get it. I get it, Karen. I'm glad you brought that up. Let me grab a call if I could. This is Roger. Roger, how are you, sir?
Hey, Larry, what's up?
What's going on?
Interesting topic that you led with today. I wonder where you got the idea from.
I don't know. Maybe some guy named Roger. He might have said something.
I'm glad people are thinking beyond party, so to say, even though they're not quite there yet. You know, I would rather people vote based on policy. They're still voting based on feeling, but, you know, people are not going to be where you're at. You got to give them time. So I'll give them that grace. Yes, Keith is 100% right. You know, I was going to call about political parties and what he was talking about. The founding fathers didn't want parties. So you knew I was going to co-sign on that. Three, regarding the setup of the Senate, remember I was talking before about a national citizen ballot initiative amendment where we can ratify the Constitution, 75% of the popular vote. One of the things that I would run is I would change that structure. I would 2 years away from the Senate and give it to the House. Then I would make the Senate match the House in terms of all of them running at the same time. Then I would move the Senate elections in coordinates with the House representatives election. And then I would take both of those bodies and align them with the presidential election year. So this way, every 4 years, we have presidential election years, and then 2 years later, it's gubernatorial election. Because the midterm is 36 governors running for election. So we could be, all right, this is the federal election, and these are the state gubernatorial elections.
All right, so if you're doing that, why wouldn't you just use 4 years? Why wouldn't you go year 1 president, year 2 Senate, year 3 Congress, year 4 governor, or something like that?
Well, I would rather the House, all of the Senate, and the president be on 1 year. So it'd be 2020, 2024, 2028, just like that.
Yeah, but now what you're saying is, and I'm not saying you're wrong or right, but what you're now advocating for is massive change based upon the wins. So now I don't like the Republicans for whatever reason, or I don't like Democrats for whatever reason. So now I throw like all the Democrats out, or I throw all the Republicans out. But if instead I'm staggering it, just because today I hate all the Democrats, I hate all the Republicans, I don't get to make the entire government be upheaval over, whatever, some scandal some Democrat Republican talks about.
You keep forgetting, I want to abolish all political parties, so that wouldn't even be an issue.
Okay, all right. Maybe if we do that, maybe I'm okay. Maybe I'm okay with that. Okay. That's good. Keith, thanks, brother. I appreciate it.
You mean Roger?
All right. I'm sorry. Yeah, Roger. I'm sorry, Rod. Thank you for that. Wow. Him and Keith agreed on something. That's awesome. I love that. Let me go to the comment if I could. I recently spoke to a friend of decades. He's so enamored by his truth. Because of my vote, he told me I'm not looking for truth. No room to negotiate. Everyone love. Enjoy your friends' holiday, regardless of politics. You know, I'm glad you brought that up. This week, obviously, is Turkey Day, Thanksgiving in 2 days. And I know we go back and forth. I hope that the people in your life who are unhappy with the election results aren't going to allow that to be something that stops you from talking. Here is what I would ask you to do if you have that kind of person in your life who's like, I can't talk to you anymore because this, or you voted for this person, so I can't talk to you anymore. I would hope you would show them some grace. This is kind of what Roger was talking about. They'll be there in the long run. They should. They'll get there. They'll get to you. Now, they may not get to you, meaning how you think. But if they're really part of your world and you love them, they should come back because of this. Yes, this two-party system, this party system that both Keith and Roger agree is bad, is making things worse for us. It's making everybody believe the other is not just thinking differently, but they're evil. They're terrible. They're wrong. They're an ist. And you know which ist I'm talking about. They're ists. And that means, why would I be around them? Why would I be talking to them? Let me tell you why. Because they're part of your family or your friend circle. And it's more important than who becomes president or who becomes in a Congress or whatever. The people that are around you are more important. I would ask you to show grace even when they don't. You have heard me on this show and other shows bring people together who don't agree with me or each other. But we still talk, and we talk often, and we keep talking. And am I all of a sudden get Roger to believe everything I believe? No. No. Am I all of a sudden get Keith to believe everything I believe? No. But I show both of them respect. And they show each other respect. So we keep talking. And the most important piece here is, if we keep talking, that means when Roger thinks X, I think Y, and now Keith thinks Z, we're all looking for the same thing. And hopefully we find the most important one, which is what peace said, which is truth. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. Please enjoy your time this week with family and friends. And remember, as Julie says, things don't matter. People do. Happy Turkey Day.